take just a moment to share more about how and why we decided to start this new recognition program. It really started about 2 years ago when our Construction Ready team, led by our Vice President, Jamie Buck, they were analyzing our retention rates for the Construction Ready program and for our graduates. And what we determined is that our 1-year retention rate for Construction Ready graduates hovers right around 70%. It's been right around 70% since we started this program about 5 years ago now, which is not bad when you compare it to other programs across the country. The national average is about 50%. So we're proud of the 70% retention, but we still asked ourselves the question, what's happening to that other 30%? Why are we losing 30%? And what we determined is that there are 3 major reasons we lose our construction-ready graduates when they go out into the field. The first is that we do have graduates, as you all know, who go out and make bad choices, right? They go out and they don't uphold their end of the deal with employers. They show up late, or otherwise they don't meet your expectations as an employer. So that does happen occasionally. We also have graduates who go out on job sites and decide that construction is not, after all, for them. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's too wet, it's too dirty, it's too something they don't like, and they decide that construction is not a good fit. But it was the third one that caught our attention, and I think it's because we weren't really expecting it. It turns out that there are employers who do not uphold their end of the deal, right? And so what we mean by that is they put their workers in dead-end jobs. They put their workers under the direction of poor supervisors, poor superintendents. They don't offer any type of career path or vision for long-term success within the company. And they don't offer any type of training or career development opportunities within the company. So that's a failure on the part of the company. And so that one really caught our attention, and that's really what led us to this point here this morning and to create this recognition program. So it was funny, about that same time, we received an email from Cinda Herndon-King with Atlanta Career Rise, and Cinda's with us. She's formerly of Atlanta Career Rise. She recently retired. That's why she's smiling so big. She retired back on, was it June 1st? July 1st. John started on June 1st. Cinda retired on July 1st. So anyway, we received an email from Cinda Herndon-King asking if we would be interested in partnering on a national RFP around job quality. We didn't even know what this was called at the time, Cinda, when we stumbled on it, but we've quickly learned that this whole business is called job quality. How do we help employers make their jobs more attractive to current employees and potential employees? But it was like divine intervention. We received that email, and we of course enthusiastically agreed to partner with Atlanta Career Rise and pursue, it was called the Job Quality Initiative Grant, and it was offered by the National Fund for Workforce Solutions, which is another group that you'll hear from later this morning. The funding actually came from the Prudential Foundation. I'm very happy to say we received the grant. This was all back in early 2018, so it's been a little over a year and a half ago now. And one of the many outcomes of this grant is our awards program here this morning. This is one of the things when we applied for the grant that we said we would do, and here we are doing it, which is a really good feeling. So thank you, Cinda, for leading that charge for us. So the construction industry's labor shortage is well documented, right? So you pick up any trade publication and you read about our shortage. What we estimate based on different data points that we've seen is that we need, in Georgia now, we need about 30,000 new construction workers every year for the next 3 years. 30,000 new workers. That's to meet current demand and to meet all of those baby boomers who are retiring and leaving our industry. So 30,000, that's about 90,000 over the next 3 years. And so that's why you all as employers are feeling this pinch. And so CEFGA recognizes that attracting and training more workers is a big part of the solution. But as an industry, we also must do a better job of lifting up and praising our existing field level employees, right? So in order to make our industry, in order to attract more people to our industry, we have to make our industry more attractive. That's a big part of our challenge as an industry that we need to focus on. And so that's a big part of what this awards celebration is all about. And so we have to celebrate those construction companies who are actively engaging with their local schools, who work to build quality craft training programs and who hire from programs like Construction Ready, and who identify and promote career pathways for their field level associates. And this is something many of you have heard me speak before. As an industry, we do a tremendous job of promoting and praising our office associates and having career pathways and all sorts of training programs. That we do a great job of that as an industry. What we have to do a better job, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you're here for a reason, but as generally as an industry, what we have to do a better job of is really praising and lifting up and providing career pathways specifically for our field level associates. So that's where our focus is as an organization. And so the purpose of this awards program is to lift up those individuals and companies who are leading by example and making a difference in our industry. And I contend that if every company in our industry thought and acted the way that you all act as companies, we would not have a labor shortage. That's my belief. And so our goal is to create more companies like you. We want your competition to behave more like you in this regard, in terms of how you focus on your field level employees, how you set up training programs, and set up career pathways, and get active with local schools to recruit more people. If more companies did that, and when more companies do that, we will not have a skilled labor shortage in our industry. So, we are fortunate this morning to have representatives from Atlanta Career Rise and the National Fund for Workforce Solutions to share their thoughts on job quality and our work on that front here in Atlanta. Of course, we would not be here this morning without the leadership of Atlanta Career Rise and the National Fund for Workforce Solutions, so we're so thankful for that. Representing Atlanta Career Rise is their new director. And John, before you come up, I'm going to say a few words. He's just over 2 months on the job. Of course, John is new to Atlanta Career Rise, but he's not new to workforce development here in Atlanta or CEFGA or Construction Ready. Prior to joining Atlanta Career Rise, he was the CEO and executive director for CobbWorks and WorkSource Cobb since its founding in 2000. So this is a big career change for him after 19 years to go into a new role. But in that role up in Cobb, he led the effort to bring our Construction Ready program to Cobb County. And so I do want to recognize, is Ms. Grant still here, Sonia Grant? Okay, so the new director was here earlier, and I just wanted to thank her for making time to be with us. She's the new president and CEO of CobbWorks up in WorkSource Cobb up in Cobb County. CobbWorks is their old name. But please join me in welcoming Mr. John Helton.
So good morning. We are very excited to be here, and Scott just took all my comments, so that's going to go there. I'm going to shift gears for just a second. I was going to talk about the how and why and everything that you just so eloquently said, Scott. So let me just shift gears for a moment, so bear with me. Atlanta Career Rise is what's referred to as a Funders Collaborative. So we're an organization that currently sits in Atlanta and United Way of Greater Atlanta, and we are an affiliate site of the National Fund for Workforce Solutions. So what does all that mean? That means we're an organization that tries to raise resources and raise money from basically our philanthropic community, take those resources and leverage them with other resources and with businesses resources to do good things around creating good jobs, skilled workers, and strong communities. That's our mantra, and that's what we're aiming to do. So since Scott told you how we got to this point, I want to acknowledge two people sitting at our wonderful Career Rise team table here. Dr. Cinda Herndon King, who is, again, as Scott said, my predecessor at Atlanta Career Rise, and has interrupted her retirement graciously to come be with us today, who actually helped conceive and conceptualize and was the visionary for this entire project. And then our colleague Janice, that you'll hear from the National Fund for Workforce Solutions. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that this was funded and was made possible by a grant from the National Fund for Workforce Solutions that we then matched. So $100,000 came from her organization, and then we raised $100,000 locally to do the work that we're doing here. Also acknowledge Sarah Flesher, who's our consultant and who spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, right, DPR and Astra, to get us where we are right now. So thank you, Sarah, as well. But shifting gears a little bit from what I was going to say, as I was driving here this morning, how many people, and you too, ran into road construction, right? You passed by work sites, and then you looked and you saw the beautiful Atlanta skyline and all the cranes that are there. and then I was turned on West Peachtree, and I looked down the road, and there's a beautiful new Anthem tower going up that has a big DPR sign on the front of it, right? Atlanta's in a really good spot right now. Atlanta is booming, and like so many places in the country, that's a wonderful thing for our economy and for the people that live here, and a lot of opportunity. But the other part of that is that Atlanta sits at the very bottom when you look at big cities and urban areas across the country in what we refer to as economic mobility. And so for a person that starts at the lower end of our economy, it's very difficult in our region to move to here. This work is about that. This work is about helping businesses keep and retain workers. But getting a job is not an issue right now, right? You got people can just go, and they do, from place to place and raise their hourly rate by 50 cents or an hour. Keeping a job, and as Scott said so well, keeping a job and being able to advance where it's really being impactful, where they can have careers and be able to do better for themselves and for their families, that's where the issue is. So we're so happy to be here today to applaud you and to celebrate the successes that you all have had and that our partnership has had, Scott, in making this work happen to help create better jobs and to retain employees so that your companies are more profitable and you're doing better, but also that we can move the needle on making it easier for people to get ahead and do better for themselves and for their families across our region. Finally, one thing, where are we going from here? I do want to share this little anecdote because I had the opportunity last week before to speak at the Georgia Gerontology Society, and I talked about y'all. And you're thinking, John, what does gerontology have to do with construction? In the home health business, home health aides, many of you may have parents or you've used home health services, they're having an incredibly difficult time keeping and retaining entry-level home health workers. So just so you know, some of the work that we've done with you all in terms of creating career pathways, in terms of job coaching, in terms of looking at resources and benefits to keep people with your companies and keep them happy and keep them advancing. We're going to be taking these same concepts and working in home health care, if you can believe that. So the same issues that you all have had with entry-level construction workers, same concept. Our goal is to take the good things that you all have done, that we've done together, and then to be able to replicate and scale and repeat. And that's why we're going to use the resources and make Atlanta region a really great place for everybody to get ahead and do better. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the partnership, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. So our next speaker this morning is Ms. Janice Urbanek. Janice is Senior Director for the National Fund for Workforce Solutions. She leverages her past experience as Executive Director of Partners for a Competitive Workforce in Cincinnati to help other National Fund sites achieve their full potential. Janice is nationally recognized for her work in helping employers improve recruiting, retention, and advancement while also building competitive advantage in their industry. Janice was our technical advisor throughout our grant with the National Fund. She's been a huge help to Atlanta Career Rise and to CEFGA and all of our industry partners over the last 18 months, and we thank you for that, Janice, on behalf of CEFGA. But please join me in welcoming Ms. Janice Urbanek.
Today. I'm thrilled to be here to celebrate and recognize true leaders in your industry who are really focused on developing their workforce and at the same time advancing their businesses. As Scott and others have said, I can speak from some personal experience working with two of your awardees today, DPR and Astra Group, because I was the technical consultant on this grant. And I visited with both of those companies, and I worked closely with Sarah and Cinda, and I saw true commitment and leadership from those two companies to really learn how to invest in their workforce through the career pathways that they developed, the mentoring programs, and other things that they did. And their commitment was impressive, and they are a true role model for your industry. So congratulations. I'd also like to thank the other companies here who have been hiring the graduates from the Construction Ready Plus program, because that is, again, advancing more workers, giving more opportunity to people to advance their careers. So just a brief minute about the National Fund and a little bit about me personally. The National Fund for Workforce Solutions invests in a dynamic national network of over 30 communities across the country, like Atlanta Career Rise, who take a demand-driven, evidence-based approach to workforce development. So at the local level, like here in Atlanta, Career Rise and our other partner organizations contribute resources, test ideas, collect data, and improve public policies and business practices to help all workers succeed and help employers get the talent that they need to compete. So before I joined the National Fund, as Scott said, I had the equivalent job to what John and Cinda had with Partners for a Competitive Workforce in Cincinnati. I got into that role because my earlier career I worked at Procter & Gamble as an engineer, and I also worked for a construction consulting company. And in those roles, I saw deeply how employers really struggled with getting the talent that they needed to grow their business. But I also saw how job seekers really struggled to get the skills that they needed and a good job to allow them to advance and provide for their families. So I decided to chuck all of that and have a career change and work full-time on helping individuals get the jobs that they need and helping employers. So the first role that I had was working specifically with construction and manufacturing companies by facilitating an employer-led industry sector partnership. I started during the recession, which we all deeply remember, where our focus was helping people get back to work. We were very focused on getting folks into training programs so that they could get their credentials and get back to work very quickly. That was a focus not only in Cincinnati, but across the National Fund and indeed across our country. But as time progressed and the economy rebounded, we started to see that fewer and fewer people were signing up for classes, or that once they took a class or got their credential, they weren't taking the jobs that were available. And that started to stump us a little bit, because at the same time we were hearing from employers that they can't find the right people. So we talked to the job seekers, we talked to the employers, we shared learnings across the National Fund Network, and what we realized was that we really needed to start working with employers on their job quality. We had been spending so much time working on the supply side of the talent equation around helping people get the skills, we recognized we needed to be working on the demand side as well, to help employers help them create a better value proposition for their current workers and their prospective employees. Because the marketplace for talent had shifted. As the economy has rebounded and with this record low unemployment, we have moved from a buyer's market to a seller's market. So that's how the whole job quality effort really got started. So the National Fund raised money for 11 sites across the country to start on this job quality journey. We were looking for sites like Atlanta Career Rise, and we're working on the ground every day with employers and with job seekers. We were looking for organizations that had that very deep relationship with employers, had a good track record for success, but also a commitment to creating sustainable solutions that could be scaled across the country. One of the benefits of the National Fund Network is we can take best practices, whether they be from Atlanta or Wichita or Boston or wherever, and bring them to all of our communities. And Atlanta Career Rise met all of those criteria, and that's why we provided the funding that has been talked about. So how is this all playing out across the country? So many of you have seen this job design framework. I know Scott has shared this with some of your members. The job design framework is a menu of options that employers can select from to help them create that value proposition for their workers. So some items on there are things like the career pathways that we've talked about, the mentoring programs that DPR and ASTRA have opted to implement. There's also another popular solution is supervisor training for like your field superintendents and your foremen. Emergency loan funds. I heard Ms. Sonia mention this morning, there are so many folks out there are one flat tire away from losing their job. So emergency loan funds to help folks with that. And what I can tell you is across the 11 sites that we funded, every single item on this list, and I have extra copies of this if anybody wants this, every single item on here is being worked on in some way across the country. Our sites are working with hospitals, manufacturing companies, fast food restaurants, solar panel installers to create customized solutions for employers that meet the needs of their employers, but also is balanced with the capacity that a company has to take on this work. So one manufacturer has learned that by preparing their workers for new automation, okay, we all hear about the future of work and automation, but by preparing their workers for new automation that was coming in, they reduced turnover and increased productivity to the point that they were able to invest more money in R&D and business development. So a true bottom line benefit to their business. Solar panel installers were able to secure contracts that were specifically reserved for companies that had good workforce practices. So in closing, I want to just leave you with a couple of thoughts. You are doing exemplary work. You are really a role model for your industry, not only here in Atlanta, but across the country. You're building the capacity and the capabilities of your business by investing in your workers, and it's benefiting them as well. And it's helping Atlanta as a city. But also know that other industries, John talked about helping healthcare, home healthcare workers. Other industries are learning that they need to do that too, to be competitive in this marketplace for talent. So just like you need to continue to innovate, to create winning bids, to sell your proposal to building owners, keep innovating on your job decisions and your workforce practices, the quality of your jobs, to sell your jobs to your current and prospective employees. Building owners are learning that construction companies that have superior workforce practices build better buildings, they do it more safely, and they do it for a better cost and on a better schedule. So raise the bar, continue to raise the bar for yourselves in the industry to build your workforce, but also get more contracts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Janice. There are a few more individuals and companies that I would like to thank before we move on to recognizing our award winners this morning. And I think John mentioned these, but they're worth repeating for sure, because these are the three individuals who really worked the hardest in implementing this grant over the last year and a half. And the first is Cinda Herndon King. I just really appreciate your vision and leadership around this. Thank you for seeing it through and helping us be successful. Also, Sarah Flesher. You know, Sarah's a consultant with Endurance Project Management, and we brought her on, honestly, I think to do most of the work. And was that the plan? And I could stand up here for the whole morning and talk about everything that Sarah did for us and for our partners through this process, but we're just so thankful. And her mom's actually with her this morning. And so it's funny, she's not, are you from Washington or Portland? Out west somewhere, right? Oregon, yeah. So when we were setting this date, Sarah said, oh, my mom's going to be here this week. So, okay, we'll go with that date. So, Sarah, thank you so much for all you do for us. And then the other one that we haven't mentioned yet is Alexis Muir, who is where is Alexis? She's floating around. Alexis is what we call our career coach and retention specialist. She's actually a full-time employee with CEFGA, and her primary responsibility is helping us figure out how to improve that 70% retention rate. How do we capture those 30% that we're losing and improve that 70% retention? So, Alexis, thank you for all you do for us and for all you did for this grant. And then last but not least are the companies that we worked with. We worked with a few different companies, but there were two main companies and then two sort of secondary companies that were more advisors. But the two main companies I want to recognize are DPR and Astra. They've been mentioned a couple of times, but we've been working with them throughout the last 18 months on this job quality issue. And we've learned, I hope that you've learned and grown as companies. I know we've learned through the process, so thank you so much. And then also Anning Johnson and Precision Concrete were very helpful throughout the last year as well. So thank you as well. So let's move on to the awards. So we are going to start with our K-12 Graduate of the Year. So the K-12 Graduate of the Year award recognizes a graduate of one of our high school construction programs. And a lot of people don't know this. Hopefully if you work with CEFGA, you know this by now. But there are approximately 150 high school construction programs across the state of Georgia. And on average, you have about 100 students in each one of those programs. So if you do the math really quickly, that's about 15,000 students who are sitting in high school construction classrooms right now across the state. And we work very closely with many of those programs. But this award recognizes a graduate from one of those 150 programs who has come into our industry and has really thrived and been successful. And so our first ever K-12 Graduate of the Year is Mr. Evan McGee. Evan McGee is a 2018 graduate of Kennesaw Mountain High School. He became interested in construction through the construction pathway curriculum offered by former construction trades teacher. I think I'm still a little sad about that, Jeremy, but we'll talk more about Jeremy in just a minute. But former teacher, Jeremy Whitaker. He earned, through Jeremy's program, he earned the NCCER Core and Carpentry Level 1 credentials. He combined these classroom lessons with on-the-job experience when, as a 16-year-old, he spent the summer interning with Holder Construction Company. During that time, he spent many valuable hours shadowing Holder Superintendent John Lewis on a high-profile State Farm project up in Dunwoody. As a senior at Kennesaw Mountain High School, Evan gained even more experience by working with C.W. Matthews through his school's work-based learning program. Let me see if I can tie this all together. Jeremy Whitaker, who is his former teacher at Kennesaw Mountain, is now working at C.W. Matthews. As of June 1st of this year, C.W. Matthews is really diving into this job quality work and recruiting people and keeping them within the company. And they hired one of the best in the state to do that. But I think it's so cool that Evan invited Mr. Whitaker to sit, even though Jeremy works with C.W. Matthews, he's sitting at a Holder construction table. So we welcome him. But upon graduating in June of 2018, he returned to Holder Construction as a full-time employee. Just a few months into his new job, Evan was given the opportunity to run a cleanup crew of 10-plus laborers, which is a testament to his maturity level and his employer's confidence in him. Evan says, after I interned with Holder, I saw that construction would be something I want to do for the rest of my life as a career, not just a job. I like being out in the field, seeing the building go up, seeing the process, problem solving. Every day there's a learning experience, whether it's just walking with one of my mentors or learning different aspects of the job from the subcontractors. Today, Evan is working on an $80 million STEM lab project at the University of Georgia up in Athens, where he is in a labor one position and also managing the shoring, wall, and deep foundation subcontractors. Please join me in congratulating our 2019 K-12 Pipeline Graduate of the Year, Mr. Evan McGee.
I just want to say a few words. I want to say thank you to my family for being so supportive of my decision to go straight into the industry as an 18-year-old coming out of high school. It's not something that everyone's parents would want for them to do, and so I'm thankful for them for being so supportive. I want to thank Jeremy Whitaker because I would not be in the position where I am today if it wasn't for him and his guidance. And then lastly, I want to thank Holder for giving me the opportunity to grow and not just have a job, but have a career for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. All right, our next award is our K-12 Pipeline Employer of the Year. The Employer of the Year award recognizes employers who work with their local elementary, middle, and/or high school construction programs in order to make students aware of careers in construction and connect them with career opportunities. I will say we have a lot of companies across the state who are doing a great job of this. You see it a lot at our Career Expo that we do every year. But there is one company that really rose to the top this year, and we want to recognize that company at this time. Our first ever K-12 Pipeline Employer of the Year award goes to Swafford Construction. You like So Swafford Construction is an Austell-based commercial contracting firm with more than 35 years experience in religious, education, professional, retail, institutional, and industrial facilities. Swafford President Joe Tuggle has been proactive in engaging and supporting CEFGA's K-12 pipeline program. Joe leads workforce development by engaging schools in the Southern Crescent region of our state, while also coordinating calls among AGC's Atlanta workforce development members. Joe also was an early supporter of the Toolbox elementary programs by setting one up, one of the first expansion programs at Vickery Mill Elementary School. In addition, Joe and Swafford Construction organized the Southern Crescent Skills Challenge, which reaches hundreds of students each year. Swafford hires numerous students each year out of high school construction programs, with 10 current employees who are graduates from schools in CEFGA's K-12 pipeline. One young employee, Joey Wright, wrote an essay about the experience of being hired by Swafford when he was only 16 years old. In it, Joey says, "This opportunity was not only my first job and first paycheck, it's also been a test of integrity and a series of interactions that will help me throughout my life. My supervisors, Ed Wright and Colin Baker, have been more than understanding with my lack of experience and taught me a wide array of things necessary to be successful on and off the job site." Please join me in congratulating Swafford Construction and Mr. Joe Tuggle on being selected as CEFGA's first K-12 Pipeline Employer of the Year.
That scared me to death. One thing that Scott continued to say was Joe, Joe, Joe. And I tell you what, it's not Joe. When I heard K through 12, the first thing I thought about was the K. Now the K to me is Jay Prothrow and Ken Briggs back there, which are the Toolbox champions in Roswell, where they have construction clubs in middle schools. Guys, stand up, wave your arm or something, let everybody know who you are. Thank you. The other part of that is Blake, and Blake is sitting beside me, if you would raise your hand. Blake is an assistant project manager on a job site in Henry County that has 7 high schoolers working. Blake is herding those cats every day throughout the entire summer. Sitting beside him is Brandon, and Brandon joined us after graduating from high school last year, and is enthusiastic about the construction world. But the most important person in that table to me is Derek, who's sitting beside him. And as you can tell, if you can see, Derek's not a student. He's been around a long time, but his patience with those high schoolers, Derek is probably one of the best tradesperson I've ever seen or been around, but his patience in mentoring those students is huge. And he's probably the main reason why we're here today. So, thank you. Keep up the good work.
All right, so our next award, you know, when we set this one up, we envisioned selecting one award winner, and it's our Construction Ready Graduate of the Year award, which recognizes a construction ready graduate who is excelling, advancing, and thriving in the construction industry. When we established this award, we did envision just recognizing one graduate. In the end, we received so many applications. And the other thing to know about this program is it started 5 years ago. We are coming close, Jamie, to 1,000 trained and credentialed students through the Construction Ready program, which is a really big deal. That's a big number. And so we couldn't, in the end, we couldn't settle on just one Construction Ready graduate from this year. And so we're actually recognizing 5 graduates this morning from Construction Ready. And as you'll hear in just a moment, they're all very deserving. And I guess if you think about it, we've been doing it for 5 years, so we recognize 5 graduates, that'll catch us up, right? So we'll just recognize 1 next year. But let's get on to our first Construction Ready graduate of the year, and that is Mr. Lanre Bakare with Van Kirk Electric. Lanre Bakare is a diligent learner who already held an Associate of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering when he entered Construction Ready in 2016. After graduating with Build Cobb Group number 6 in August of that year, he was initially placed with Eckhart Electric and worked there for 7 months before joining his current employer, who is Van Kirk Electric, and that was in April of 2017. Lanre began his career with Van Kirk as a project analyst and has since been promoted to project coordinator. Lanre continued his quest for learning by joining the first Construction Ready Plus class in the fall of 2018. And he says the credentials he earned through those 16 weeks have been a big boost to his career. Lanre adds, "I'm really glad I found out about CEFGA and Construction Ready. I just can't say enough about their programs. They've really helped me take on challenges and apply initiative with the knowledge I've gained." Lanre's next goal is to become a project manager, and the Van Kirk management team is confident he'll reach it. As one of his supervisors said, Lanre's attention to detail, analytical skills, and eagerness to learn have made him very successful. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Lanre Bakare.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. I want to dedicate this to the glory of God, first of all, the owner of my life and the creator of the universe. There's so much I would like to say, but I'm just going to be very brief. It's just going to be so much of thanks. Firstly, I want to thank my younger brother. He's not here today. He was the one who told me about the Construction Ready program. And the synopsis of my thanks is going to start with Miss Anita Soto. She was the one who received me first and did my analysis when I was going to come for the test. The testing actually to get into the program. I want to thank Miss Jenny Bach, so seriously. And then I have to mention names because these are intentional things that happened to me. And the next person in line that I met was Mr. Humbuckle. He actually scared me to death, first of all, when I first met him. I didn't know I was going to survive the program, but here I am. I thank God. And then I want to thank Mr. Kiel. I've not seen him around. That man is an impeccable teacher. He's an instructor by excellence. I want to thank him so much for the confidence he's been able to repose in us all. As a matter of fact, he made me go into electrical business. I told him, first of all, I said, Mr. Kiel, I don't want to do electrical because I don't want to get electrocuted. And he was like, he was like, no. I said, my home is millions of miles away, and I don't want to be in parts before going back home. So he said, I can guarantee you, just go in there first. And then I started off, and it's been so much of fun, learning, so much of interesting things. And I want to thank Mr. Kelly, the Construction Ready Plus instructor, quite an interesting man too. And I want to thank Alexis, Miss Vida White, every other person I can't remember now. Mr. Scott Scheller, I want to thank you so much. This morning I've just learned about the new support group, the Atlanta National Fund for Solution, Workforce for the Solution. And I want to thank you so much, every single person, for your help in getting us to this point. I am very intentional. Really, it's not just about coming into the class. It's about the decision to succeed and the initiative to be better. And above all, this sense of ownership, like the ownership of being an ambassador of CEFGA lives with me, and I ride with that every day at my workplace. The sense of ownership helps me to thrive more and better, and that's exactly what I want to leave with everyone today. that sense of ownership just make a difference every time. And I want to thank everybody from here on out. God bless you all. Thank you.
All right. Our next Construction Ready Graduate of the Year is Mr. Khalil Davis with DPR Construction. Khalil Davis graduated from Construction Ready with Westside Works, group number 11, in August of 2015. Since going to work for DPR, he has differentiated himself as a skilled carpenter with an eye for detail and craftsmanship, an employee with tremendous leadership potential, and a vocal advocate for safety. One of Khalil's early assignments was to support the job site management team on an office building project in Chamblee. The project superintendent was so impressed with his work, he requested Khalil to join him in a similar role on the next project. By then, it was obvious that Khalil was developing a passion for DPR's culture of safety, and he expressed his desire to continue on that path as a career. Steve Duff, safety manager for DPR's Southeast region, says, Khalil's various credentials he learned through the Construction Ready program, his concern for safety, and his quest for wanting to know the why caught my attention on our Chamblee project. At DPR, leaders who have this quality have the opportunity to take on the additional responsibilities of a field safety coordinator role. Khalil now is pursuing Safety Trained Supervisor, or STS credentials, through the Board of Certified Safety Professionals. This designation is common among field leaders in DPR's West Coast offices, and the goal is for Khalil to be one of the first to earn it in the company's East Coast operations and set an example for others to follow. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Khalil Davis.
I just want to say thank you, Scott. You're right about it being hot and hard work on a job. That's why I felt like coming here would be the perfect opportunity to get off the job site. I just wanted to thank my family, my team, DPR Construction, and CEFGA, the CEFGA team, the CEFGA staff. You guys, if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. You guys opened up the door for me. I'm not a big talker on stage, so keep it brief in the mouth.
Remember about Khalil, I wish I had a picture of this, but as a gift, shortly after he left the Construction Ready program, he built a little model of a job site, a really detailed model. It was really amazing, and we still have that in our offices. It has a little dumpster on it and all the electrical work. It was really amazing, and we were so touched by that gift as you were leaving. And I just thought about it as I was sitting down there. Our next Construction Ready Graduate of the Year is Miss Makita Grant, who's with Merrick Interior Systems. Makita Grant graduated with Westside Works Group 18 in January 2017 and was hired by Merrick Interior Systems as a general laborer. Although she came to the company with no prior construction experience, she embraced her new career with enthusiasm. Makita's initial work with Merrick consisted mostly of picking up trash around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium site. She quickly aspired to do more and started volunteering to help with tasks such as data sheets and other paperwork, deciding that if you don't take the initiative, no one's going to take it for you. Makita's supervisor recognized that initiative and assigned her to a warehouse assistant position at the company's airport location. She earned 2 raises that year, going from $12 an hour to $14 and then $16 an hour. In that job, she helped with everything from receiving incoming materials to loading outgoing materials for a 90-person work crew. Makita, who is also a graduate of our Construction Ready Plus program, continued to impress and was assigned to Merrick's work on a Facebook data center near Social Circle. Today, she's working on a Children's Healthcare of Atlanta project in North Druid Hills after receiving another promotion to labor foreman. Please join me in congratulating Miss Makita Grant.
Good morning. First, I want to say thank you. First of all, to CEFGA giving me the opportunity, and also for Mary for employing me for so long, and teaching me my skills and my craft and my career. Like I said at the beginning, if you don't take the initiative to do something, then nobody's going to just give it to you. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Our next Construction Ready Graduate of the Year is Mr. Nicholas Holmes. Nicholas was part of group number 2 at Westside Works back in 2014, and Anning Johnson Company's Edwin Parra remembers being impressed by his positive attitude. Edwin says Nicholas really wanted to take his life in a positive direction, and that was very apparent when I met him. Even though he had no construction experience, considering his personality and his attitude, he seemed like someone we could mold into a long-term employee. Nicholas has proven Edwin right since joining Anning Johnson as a laborer. He immediately demonstrated a strong work ethic and initiative, and within a few months was promoted to carpenter's apprentice and selected to join the company's 2-year carpentry training program. After that, Nicholas went on to leadership training and foreman training, and today, in his role as foreman in training, he is learning to run his own projects while continuing to lead by example. Edwin says Nicholas embodies the success that can be achieved by taking advantage of resources like Construction Ready, followed by effective training such as what he has received at Anning Johnson. Nicholas connected the dots that painted a picture of success in his life. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Nicholas Holmes.
Everybody. I'm an emotional person. Thank God for allowing me to be here today. My life journey is a wild story, and it would take me all day to tell you guys about it, but I just want to thank so many individuals, and I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. I want to thank my wife. I was in prison, and I had a bad mentality mindset, and she was my counselor there. She helped me change the way of thinking, the way I saw life, and start to believing in myself and that I could actually be somebody. I come from a rough childhood, you know. I lost my mother to suicide when I was 9 years old. She shot herself in the head in front of me. And my father's been on drugs and in and out of my life all my life. And there's a lot of other family members that was there for me that I lost and I had to see them die. I ended up with this terrible mentality that the world was a cruel place and nobody really loved me and nobody really cared for me because the people that were supposed to be there for me left me alone. So I lived a destructive life of drugs and crime, and I don't even know how I'm here. I'm supposed to be dead. Somebody should have killed me. But, you know, God had a plan for me. And He brought me here today, you know, like I said, I thank my best friend and my wife for helping me change that terrible mentality and mindset that I have. I thank my sister for picking me up from the bus station when I got out of prison, for giving me the opportunity, giving me a place to stay. You know, we get out and we don't have nowhere to go, and that's a whole other issue that we need to figure out something to help these people that are coming out of these situations, because not everybody wants to keep making the same mistake and doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results. Some people want to change, and people like you all are giving us opportunities. I was given the opportunity. I went through the STRIVE program. I went through CEFGA. You know, you guys sitting down and creating these great organizations that are giving some people that really want to take that initiative and that opportunity to change their life. This is so large that some of you can't even fathom how big this is and how impactful this is for generations to come. This is affecting my children, my family, because people are able to see me as an example. I'm so thankful that I can be an example to somebody. So many people that knew me when I was in the street, strung out on drugs, see me, that know that they have a chance. And I try to reach out and help those people. But thanks to CEFGA once again for the program, Mr. Hornbuckle, Ms. Vita, Ms. Jamie, Mr. Scott. Thank all of you all for starting this program. I remember when I walked through those doors, you know, I had lost a job. I was thrown on the bus by a supervisor for doing something he told me to do, which was shady. But I didn't throw him on the bus because I'm not that type of guy, so I took that hit and I was introduced into this program. I went through the program and did a great job. I was hired by Edward Parra. He sold me on this company called Andy Johnson, great spoken. That's an awesome dude. I've been with Andy Johnson once again, as they stated, went through the program, and I've met so many awesome people along this journey. I have been so many awesome places and been able to speak to so many awesome people. I've met Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, Arthur Blaine, went up to DC the other week. It's just been an awesome journey. So once again, I am so thankful. I ask that we all continue to keep on investing, keep growing, keep giving people chances. Like Scott said, there's a 30% failure rate, but that 70% is an amazing number to me. And if we can figure out what's going on with that 30%, that would be extremely awesome. But you know, it is, like Scott said, a lot of those things are issues that some people want things, but they're not willing to do what it takes to hold on to them. A lot of people see you guys, people ride around in nice cars and things of that nature, they college credentials, but they don't understand what type of dedication and work it takes to get there. People see the shiny diamond, but don't understand that that came from a piece of coal that was grinded and sent through extreme heat, you know, so we want to go from coal to diamond, but nobody wants to experience the heat. So I challenge everybody to continue to work hard, continue to strive, continue to help others, continue to love your brother and your neighbor. Thank you, Andy Johnson, my whole staff, that's my team. This is the best company in the world that you could ever work for. We continue to send great employees our way. Thank you guys for just continuing to give me the opportunity. I've moved up so far in this company so fast and breaking history everywhere I go. You know, God just had favor with my life. I can't wait to see what the next 5 years of my life is going to be. Maybe I'll be up here next year telling y'all that I'm an employee again or something. Thank you all for coming out, and everybody have a blessed day.
He graduated 5 years ago, and he's always very generous with his time. You know, when we need a speaker, you know, to come out or go to Washington, D.C., we had an opportunity to talk to some policymakers up in D.C. He made the trip up there. You know, Bill and Melinda Gates came to town and wanted to know more about this Construction Ready program. We knew just the person to call. We called Nicholas, and he's always so generous with his time. And also, Annie Johnson, thank you for allowing him to be so generous with his time and to help spread the word about this program. So, Nicholas, thank you for making us proud, buddy. We have one more Construction Ready graduate that we want to recognize. And our fifth Construction Ready graduate of the year is Mr. Treyon Tonkov. Treyon Tonkov graduated from Construction Ready with Bill Cobb Group Number 1 in October 2015. He was hired by Precision Concrete as a labor foreman, and his supervisors say the knowledge he had from previous experiences traveling and working internationally, as well as his Construction Ready training, helped him advance quickly. In 2016, Precision Concrete opened a repair and restoration group to service customers and clients with infrastructure repairs and restoration projects. Recognizing Treyon's excellent work in supporting superintendents on multiple projects, General Superintendent Judd Harris offered him the opportunity to become a repair and restoration foreman, a role he said Treyon was a perfect fit for. Judd says Treyon's ability to communicate with clients and employees is exceptional. His ability to work in controlled environments and clean areas based on his years of experience has proven to be a tremendous asset to Precision. Treyon now is supervising crews, driving a company vehicle, and leading a new team. Justin Utterback, Director of Repair and Restoration for Precision, says Treyon is a very diligent worker and completes every task he is assigned. His leadership skills and management skills have developed over this time. I am grateful to have him as a key part of my team. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Treyon Tonkov.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So to do things is much easier than to describe what I'm feeling, because to describe the joy and how what I'm experiencing is hard, but to express and to thanks to people who decided to hire you and believe in you, and giving that opportunity is much more difficult. So first of all, I want to thank CEFGA for giving me a chance, and I made my first step when I was 64 years old in that construction. After that, to Precision, all management staff that I'm happy to work with them. And last but not least, Mr. Judd Harris, who hired me and gave me the opportunity to show and prove to myself that I'm still fit and good to do what I did in the past. Thank you very much.
Treyon mentioned Judd Harris. I want to say a word about Judd. Many of you know he was in an accident a few weeks back. He would be here otherwise, but he broke some bones and is recovering, and we wish him the best. He's obviously a valuable asset to Precision and a valuable asset to us in the Construction Ready program. So hope that Judd is doing well and recovering quickly. And I want to lift up those 5 graduates again. Keep in mind, we have graduated and placed in 5 years nearly 1,000. Jamie probably has the exact number memorized. What is it, Jamie? 961. 961. Yeah, September we'll be hitting the 1,000 milestone. We've graduated 961, placed 961 of our graduates in our industry, and these are the top 5 of those 961. So we thank you so much for representing the program. So our next award is our Construction Ready Employer of the Year, and that award recognizes employers for hiring, retaining, and developing construction ready graduates. Our first ever Construction Ready Employer of the Year is Precision Concrete. Precision is a full-service concrete construction company based in Alpharetta. The company has hired 39 construction-ready graduates since the program's 2014 inception at Westside Works. Lucius Jordan was the first graduate Precision hired, and he is still with the company and thriving in his career today. Over the past 2.5 years, Precision has hired all new labor for its turnkey division from Construction Ready. Precision's Judd Harris regularly represents the company at CEFGA's Lunch and Learn events for Construction Ready students and has set up employment and information booths at hiring fairs and career days. Judd also has spoken to graduating students at 3 different Construction Ready locations. Precision Concrete's partnership with CEFGA demonstrates what a powerful and effective resource Construction Ready is for workforce development in the Metro Atlanta area and throughout our state. Please join me in congratulating our first ever Construction Ready Employer of the Year, Precision Concrete.
Yeah, I know you've already heard Judd Harris, his name mentioned this morning, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say something on behalf of Precision. Judd has worked with CEFGA for Precision. He believes strongly in the program. He's been in the construction for many, many years, and on behalf of Precision, we thank him for all his efforts in making the hiring of people from this program very much a success. Precision was started by a man who spent his entire life in the construction industry. From the time he was a little boy, he was going to construction sites, driving trucks, picking up people off the side of the road for his dad, that type of thing. So he believes and loves this industry. He's very proud when he gets a chance to bring somebody into this industry. He loves seeing people be successful. And at Precision, we want to do everything we can to treat our employees right, to bring new people in and give them a chance to experience all the success that we have. So, thank you.
Okay, our next category is Emerging Craft Pro Champion. An Emerging Craft Pro Champion is a company that has recently begun within the past 2 years workforce development strategies that promote field-level career progression and provide workers with accessible training and skills development opportunities. Our first Emerging Craft Pro Champion for 2019 is Astra Group. Astra Group is a Woodstock-based company specializing in infrastructure, transportation, public, community, athletic, and recreational facilities across the Southeast. Over the past 2 years, the Astra leadership team has created a pair of complementary programs for its craft employees, both designed to increase morale, help the company promote from within, and build employee tenure. One program is the Career Pathway, a written plan illustrating a career path from laborer to superintendent. In addition to training and certifications, the program also highlights the necessary soft and technical skills needed to progress. The other is the Career Development Program, which provides one-on-one guidance by an Astra coach to help a craft employee master the skills necessary to move from their current position to the next. Astra President Andrew Lindsay says, "I have been able to observe firsthand how both the Career Development and the Career Pathway programs have been influential over our employee base. Through these programs, we want to promote from within and equip our employees with the skills and tools they need to succeed. CEFGA is proud to have assisted Astra in developing these programs, and the two organizations enjoy an ongoing productive partnership, with Astra hiring 20 graduates of our Construction Ready program and being a strong supporter of our K-12 pipeline. Please join me in congratulating Astra Group.
Thanks, Scott. And to everyone at CEFGA, thank you for the partnership. I particularly want to thank Sarah for, wave your hand again. She has done such a great job with us, guiding us through a careers pathway program. Alan Easton, our vice president, who has championed the program within our organization. I'll let you say a few things in a second here. But I want to recognize some of our mentors who are implementing the program. Matt, Darren, and Charles back there, raise your hand, guys. Those are the guys who are boots on the ground that are making it happen, and we appreciate it. Also, our CFO, George Heitz, who's on the board of CEFGA, has spent a lot of time helping us out and guiding us through. So thank you, CEFGA. And Alexis, thank you so much. You've been great. Alan.
So thank you to Scott. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys the past 5 years. It's been very fruitful for us. We really believe in the opportunity to bring people in and build them up. We've had people that come in that sit on the front desk that are project managers running 50 and 16 hours of work right now. And we've had laborers we brought on that can barely speak English, and now they're general superintendents doing well. So, well, thank you for all your hard work and all your help.
Our next emerging Craft Pro champion is DPR Construction. DPR Construction is a nationwide commercial contractor and construction manager with expertise in advanced technology, commercial, healthcare, higher education, and life science markets. This year, the company's Atlanta business unit introduced a career pathway document titled Building Your Future for its current craft employees, new employees, and recruits. The document includes detailed career pathways for all available craft trade positions, as well as information on company culture and testimonials from employees who have progressed from the trades to administrative positions within the company. DPR also has developed training classes to ensure a well-educated workforce. Company leaders listen to employees directly on what they want to learn, and based on that input, develop classes such as blueprint reading, financial literacy, and more. Additionally, some of DPR's southeastern business units have begun using local technical colleges for apprenticeship programs, and the company soon will launch its own internal apprenticeship program with credentialed instructors. With Building Your Future as a roadmap and a set of training programs for educating its workforce, DPR is helping employees realize they have the opportunity for not just a job, but a lasting career in the construction industry. Please join me in congratulating DPR Construction.
I'll be brief. Also, I wanted to congratulate all 5 of the graduates this year. Just some very compelling stories that I've heard, and really that's what it's all about when we're trying to do with these different programs we're putting in place. I want to thank my DPR family for everything, the support that they've given us to push this program forward. As Scott mentioned, we are in the process right now of rolling this out to our other Southeast offices as we speak right now. Soon to launch it nationwide to the rest of our craft employees as well. Again, I want to thank Sarah. She has been my accountability coach for the last year and a half. If I forget a deadline, she's right there to let me know that I missed it and that we need to reschedule. So I want to thank her for all her help, and all the entire Atlanta Career Rise and CEFGA team for their support in this endeavor this last year, and just the connections and support that we've received from everybody. Thank you.
Our next emerging Craft Pro champion is Swinnerton. Swinnerton is a commercial construction company that provides a broad range of services in 16 markets across the United States. The company offers several learning and advancement resources for its workforce, including the Swinnerton Career Blueprint, which outlines growth charts, defined expectations, and position-specific documents, and numerous courses through an online learning management system called Swinnerton University. This system has thousands of trainings on software programs, safety topics, business technology solutions, and much more. Swinnerton's workforce development efforts also include tuition reimbursement, ESL courses, and on-the-job training. In March 2018, the company's Southeast Division created a dedicated workforce development committee that has standardized recruiting, hiring, and onboarding, and soon it will introduce a mentor program for craft employees. This program will pair a craft employee with a superintendent to foster continued development and succession planning. Swinnerton also features a craft retention program designed to ensure employees are recognized for their good work through service awards, features in the company newsletter, and bonuses. These initiatives have reduced turnover and created a camaraderie within divisions and on job site projects. Swinnerton Operations Manager Jeff Robertson says, "When our employees succeed, we succeed. When employees are viewed as valuable members of the team, turnover decreases and the bottom line increases." Please join me in congratulating Swinnerton.
Good morning, everybody. I want to recognize Scott's leadership. As he's been with CEFGA a long time. He's done a great job in the last 20, you're right, 20. Zach's leadership, Jamie especially, and the 5 graduates we recognize here today. I'm inspired. I want to be your campaign manager. You need to run for president. So you call me later. It's inspiring to hear these stories, and we're glad to be a part of this, and we appreciate your work. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next category is Craft Pro Champion. A Craft Pro Champion is a company that is a leader in the industry and has a long track record of workforce development strategies that promote field-level career progression and provide workers with accessible training and skills development opportunities. Our Craft Pro Champion for 2019 is Anning Johnson Company. Anning Johnson is a specialty construction contractor in 8 markets across the United States, including Atlanta. The company, which regularly hires from CEFGA's K-12 pipeline and construction-ready programs, including more than 30 graduates, demonstrates an extraordinary commitment to workforce development through an innovative joint training program. One component of this program is in-house paid training with dedicated mentors who work alongside apprentices on the job. The other component is after-hours training classes that Anning Johnson coordinates with the Carpenters Union, enabling employees to earn industry-recognized credentials, progress toward journeyman certification, and move up the ranks more quickly. Anning Johnson also allocates time and resources to ensure that apprentices are evaluated on a weekly basis. Mentors, foremen, and supervising journeymen help employees identify areas for improvement, as well as areas where they're exceeding expectations. Employees look forward to this feedback, and it helps them progress. Anning Johnson's comprehensive investment in craft-level workers reduces turnover, creates growth, increases loyalty, and enables the company to fill vacancies from within and retain a knowledgeable workforce. Anning Johnson Operations Administrator Edwin Parra says, "When employers start to realize the power they have by taking advantage of resources such as Construction Ready and then investing in these individuals, then everybody wins." Please join me in congratulating Anning Johnson.
first and foremost, I just want to thank CEFGA. They've become like my second family over the last 5 years, and they've really made all this possible. Secondly, I want to quote Richard Branson. He said, if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of your business. And that's what this all boils down to.
Just quickly want to thank Scott and CEFGA and Jamie. It's been a great relationship there. Very important what you guys do, very important what everyone here is doing. All the graduates, congratulations to them. Nick, especially, super inspiration to all of us. And we've got to keep up the hard work. It takes a lot of work, a lot of patience to do this workforce development, but it's all worthwhile, obviously. And it's what our industry needs, what we need as a company, what we need as an industry to keep successful. So thank you all.
I want to recognize two individuals we have here, Larry Sneed and Clifford Franks. If you guys will raise your hands real quick. Both of these gentlemen are like quite a few other people we have on the job sites that really have a deep passion for helping our employees grow. And it's because of them we're able to do what we do. Thanks.
All right, one more round of applause for all of our honorees. A few more individuals I want to recognize very quickly. We did have a selection committee that had the very difficult job of selecting our winners, and I want to recognize them. I believe they are all with us this morning. Of course, Sarah Flesher, you've heard her name a few times. Sarah, thank you. Liz Campbell with AGC Georgia. Liz is in the back. Thank you so much for serving on our selection committee. Anita Soto with Cobb Works. WorkSource Cobb, she's in the back as well. Thank you for all you do. And Alexis Muir with CEFGA as well. I also want to recognize the CEFGA team. They are in the back of the room. Zach Fields, many of you know, runs our K-12 work. So if you're interested in getting involved with schools, if you're not already, he's a good person to talk to. Jamie Buck, who I mentioned earlier, runs our Construction Ready program. She can tell you all about that. I think all of you are already hiring from that program. Tina Robinson is our VP of Operations and Administration. She helped pull this event together this morning. Tina, thank you for all of your work. Alexis Muir, of course. Diane Robinson helps Zach with the K-12 work. Anthony Welch is somewhere this morning. Anthony is one of our site managers over many locations, but mainly at Westside Works. Vita White is out in the community telling people about our program. Vita, thank you. Jesse Sadlowski, thank you for all that you do as well. Alan Olnick he does a lot of our writing. He's right down front. He's technically not a CEFGA employee, but he does a lot of contract work with us. You all may know him because he writes all of our success stories. If you're interested in learning more about any of our students that we recognize this morning, go to CEFGA.org and we have a full story about we have all of these students as well as probably 50 other success stories out there on our website, and most of those are written by Alan Olnick. Hopefully you will hire more of our graduates and Al will come see you to write more success stories about our graduates. And also Latasha Ford, I believe, is with us this morning. Is that our whole CEFGA team? Latasha, thank you for all that you do as well. And a couple of other people. Jeremy Whitaker, thank you for being here this morning. Best construction teacher in the state, one of the best. We hated to lose you, but we know you're going to do great things over at C.W. Matthews. Thank you for being here this morning. And last but not least, our Construction Ready partner, HB Next. You've heard Mark Hornbuckle's name a few times. We obviously cannot do Construction Ready without HB Next and Mark's leadership. And so they're a key partner in implementing that program. We appreciate all that you all do. And then Ryan Bowling is with us as well this morning. I believe that's everybody. And we are 15 minutes early. So I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. Thank you all for being here, and keep an eye out for our awards program. This is going to be an annual thing that we do every year. So if you're sitting there thinking we need to nominate this person or we need to nominate our company for that award, you will definitely have another opportunity to do that for next year. So thank you all for being here. Have a great day. Thank you.